Live from your trusted local news source, KCRG News starts now.
Hello, and thank you so much for joining us for the KCRG-TV9 news at 6:06 that is. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties there, but I think we got it all figured out, so thank you so much for joining us. The big story, one of the big stories this weekend, of course, is the cold weather. Starting yesterday, bitterly cold temperatures for anybody who was outside. You felt that as soon as you were walking outside. Of course, many people staying inside this weekend to try to stay out of that cold weather, but of course not everybody can stay inside. KCRG-TV9's Jackson Valenti reports how daytime warming shelters for those who are experiencing homelessness can be the difference in whether some people stay outside all day or not.
I stay here for the meal and then I go back outside.
Dennis Brown's cracked, swollen hands are a harsh proof of the weather he's endured outside.
Oh yeah, look at my hands. That's all frostbite.
Tonight he'll be sleeping outside. He and several others have their reasons as to why they won't stay at the overnight shelter. For the most part, this is his only time inside.
Like a lot of us can't go in the library. A lot of us can't go here, can't go there, because they look down on you.
The library closed at 8, go get the stuff and then go find somewhere to lay down that night.
Friday is Gary Miller's birthday. He took the day off work to stay warm. He's been sleeping outside, but he's only a week away from moving into an apartment.
He deserves it. He really does. A lot of these people do. They just don't get the chance.
Jill Heeman woke up at 5 o'clock, heated up her car, and had Green Square meals open at 8. She wants the warming shelter open as early as possible so people can come straight here after the overnight shelter closes, and so people who slept outside can get warm.
I was just in tears and so scared that I was going to find somebody that froze to death last night.
For Brown, his best chance to sleep is here, not in the cold. Others like Miller are eager to rest inside and eat a hot meal.
A lot of us out here need this place. We don't want it, we need it.
I'm just trying to keep my head above water and stay alive every day.
You want any dessert?
And as long as they can get to Green Square meals, Jill Heeman will have a door open to warmth.
I mean, these guys are close to my heart, and yeah, I care like they are my family.
Thanks, Jackson. What a great resource for those facing homelessness and trying to get out of that cold. Now, the Iowa DOT says we may have actually dodged a bullet with this storm, despite those bitter temperatures we've been seeing. They say heavy snows after Friday's bitter temperatures could have led to serious dangers on eastern Iowa roadways. Now, of course, right now those roads are clear of the snow. We're missing out on some of that snow that the south and the northeast is getting. But the Iowa DOT says because of how cold it is, it would have been difficult to clear any snow that we would have got if we would have gotten hit by that snow away from the roadways to keep them clean. They say that's because the salt mixtures aren't very effective in temperatures like we've been seeing.
When it's this cold like this, a lot of times if we would have got snow tomorrow, we really wouldn't have been treating it really much. We would have just tried to plow it and keep it thin.
He says they would have also used a salt and sand mixture to help with traction. People out on the road should be prepared for the worst. Of course, like we said, we're not getting that snow. I spoke with a plow truck driver, and he said, they're going to be inundated this weekend with a lot of dead batteries. He said, of course, a reminder to keep those winter packs in your car with water, food, blankets, anything you might need in case you get stranded, because a lot of dead batteries this weekend with that cold. Now, not everybody is staying inside. Some people did brave the weather this weekend to have a little bit of fun. KCRG-TV9's Lacey Reeves was up in the Amana Colonies today where Winterfest was taking place, but with a few modifications.
Winterfest is all about laughing in winter's face.
Bitter cold moved Winterfest activities inside Saturday, but the winter weather setback couldn't stop people from having a good time at the annual festival. Especially Sophie Walker and her boyfriend.
We come every year. It's a tradition. No amount of cold's going to stop us from coming.
Walker says one of her favorite things to do at the festival is collect pins for her alpine hats.
Yeah, Bachfest, Oktoberfest, there you go.
And of course the games. Walker and her boyfriend even tried their hand at log sawing.
I call it my happy place. That's what my family always tells me. I think that there's so much community here, and there's so many great places to support and businesses to support, and it's the people here. Everybody you talk to is just an absolute blast. So.
Event coordinator Chelsea Blake says it was great to see people come out for this year's festivities, despite the cold temperatures. She says they did their best to make sure everyone was warm and safe inside.
We've never canceled Winterfest because of the weather, but that is why we did bring it inside, and we have portable heaters here. We have hot chili that the fire department is selling to keep people warmed up.
And Walker says she didn't mind the change.
When we're close to the heaters, it's not so bad, so I hope people come out and join us. It's a good time.
The cold not stopping the community spirit. In Amana, Lacey Reeves, KCRG-TV9 News.
All right, thanks, Lacey. Well, property taxes are a big topic for this year's Iowa legislative session. KCRG-TV9's Jackson Valenti attended a forum this afternoon for those looking to understand the impact of these suggested reforms. Of course, nothing in permanent changed yet. You can catch that story tonight on the TV9 News at 10. Also at 10, we'll break down a little bit of what's been happening in Minneapolis again this weekend with another federal agent shooting someone up there in Minneapolis. Lots of protests and things going on up there. Catch that all tonight at 10. For now, we're going to get back to the cold after the break. Meteorologist AJ Rickman's going to join us and let you know what you can expect for the rest of the weekend. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the TV9 News at 6. I'm Emily Sherrod, joined now with meteorologist AJ Rickman. Big story is cold.
Yes, big story is going to be the cold we continue to deal with, but some good news, if you want to call it that. In a way, we've kind of dodged a bullet.
Okay.
So we'll get into that in just a minute, but for the time being, the big thing is, again, cold conditions. Right now, as we go outside this evening, we are seeing generally quiet conditions, but it is still bitterly cold. We've been below zero for quite some time now in terms of wind chill values. Your temperatures currently across eastern Iowa also below zero in many spots. Warmest we can offer right about now is 6 degrees in Oskaloosa. It is 5 in Washington, 5 in Mount Pleasant. Keep in mind that is your air temperature, not your wind chill. Factoring in wind chill values, everybody is below zero, ranging from 2 below in Tama to as much as 15 below in Dubuque and Maquoketa. Now, we are mostly cloudy at this point. You'll notice a little bit of snow shower activity going on in some of our far southern counties. We've been watching for flurries and light snow showers to occasionally make it as far north as, again, some of our counties south of Interstate 80. But I mentioned we dodged a bullet, and here's what I mean by that. As we zoom out and see what's going on to our south, an absolutely massive winter storm. We've been talking about it all through the week this week and how it would be impacting a large portion of the country. And just to kind of give you some scale for the size of this storm and the amount of, or the population and the spatial coverage for what it is currently impacting. So let's measure the distance between the far western and eastern edge of this storm. So we'll start here in Arizona, where some of those rain showers are going on. We are getting over 2,000 miles of precipitation across the United States right now, ranging anywhere from rain to sleet to ice to snow. So truly just a massive system. And there are your active winter weather alerts right now. That bright pink color is a winter storm warning. Again, that covers about 2,000 miles going from Texas and New Mexico all the way up to Maine. So again, just an absolutely huge amount of the U.S. that is currently being impacted by this storm. And for us in eastern Iowa, again, kind of dodging a bullet because it passes just to our south. And with the cold air in place, if we did have heavy snowfall, the road treatments wouldn't be quite as effective because it is so bitterly cold. What we are looking at, again, light snow along and south of Interstate 80 this evening through potentially early Monday morning. Things do wrap up by the time we get to daybreak tomorrow. Here's Pinpoint Futurecast taking you through this evening. Again, that chance is there for some spotty flurries and light snow showers along and south of Interstate 80. By the time we get to 2 in the morning, most of that activity is off into Illinois. And then by the time we get to early tomorrow morning, again, a flurry or two possible in some of our southern counties. But for the most part, quiet and dry through the end of your weekend. But we are going to be cold, and we are going to even get colder as we get into your Sunday night and Monday morning. Tonight, below 0 in most spots, 2 degrees in Mount Pleasant, 0 in Washington, Oskaloosa, and Maquoketa. And then tomorrow, high temperatures make it into the single digits above 0 across the northern half of the viewing area, low to mid-teens as you go to our far southern counties. But then you look at our wind chill values, still going to be well below 0 by tomorrow morning. Same with tomorrow afternoon. Generally close to 0 in Oskaloosa to as much as 10 below, 12 below in our northern counties. And then tomorrow night into Monday morning, again, this is going to be a time frame to really kind of hone in on. Yes, we've been cold for a long period of time, but we're going to see another pretty noticeable dip in our wind chills again during that Sunday night to Monday morning time frame. So if you are going to be headed out to work and school for the start of the week, make sure that you are bundling up, limiting your time outside, because as you can see, those wind chills during that time, 20 to 30 below 0 once again across the area. We do see a little bit of recovery by Monday afternoon and evening, getting a little closer to that 0 degree mark. Still going to be extremely cold, however. And we keep it that way through the start of the week. Again, a little bit of relief by Tuesday, Wednesday, and then a bit of a temperature drop off by Thursday morning, at least in terms of what it will feel like out there. And you'll see that in your 9-day forecast too. As we get into the end of the weekend and start of next week, that is when we will see our coldest conditions as far as what is still ahead of us. And then from that point, a slight recovery. We do make it into the teens consistently as we get into next week, but keep in mind our average high at this time of year is 27, our average low is 11, so we're still well below that. As we get out towards the end of your 9-day forecast, that chance is there for some return to near normal conditions, but still watching for that extended period of cold weather. You'll notice that snow chance on Wednesday too. That is going to be with what is known as a clipper system that's going to be moving in from the north. Looking at this point like those snow showers will be fairly scattered and light, but of course we will keep an eye on that and keep you updated as we go through the next couple of days leading up to it.
It's sad when 20, 26, 28 is going to be feeling pretty balmy.
Yeah, and you know, by the time we get to that point, after such an extended period of time of cold conditions, it probably will feel really, really nice.
Oh gosh, I can't believe that we are just hanging on to these cold temperatures for so long, but I have to keep reminding myself it's still January, which January feels like it's going on forever. Does that ever feel like, I feel like that always happens in January.
It does, yeah. January is kind of a longer month. You get past the holidays, there's kind of that holiday hangover, and then you get into like February, it's a shorter month. So, you know, 28 days in February, at that point, March, and for those of you who are looking forward to spring, it'll be coming up quick after we get through January.
Yeah, I cannot wait for spring to get here. AJ, thanks so much. Jack's up next with sports. Stay with us. Welcome back to the TV9 News at 6. I'm Emily Sherrod, joined now by KCRG-TV9 Sports' Jack Lito. Lots of hoops today.
Yeah, a lot of hoops. Let's start in Stillwater, where the Iowa State men took down Oklahoma State 84-71. There you see the stats. This game was on Peacock, so we cannot show you those highlights, but any Iowa State fan who watched the game knows Milan Momcilovic was a man possessed. He had 29 points, 8 out of 12 from the field, 5 of 9 from the three-point line, and he made all 8 of his free throws. Say it with me. Momcilovic.
Momcilovic.
Yeah, you guys are going to have to be saying that a lot more. News reporters are going to need to pronounce that name because, man, he's the best shooter in the country.
Yeah.
Over 50% from three-point land. And on the whole, Iowa State never trailed. They never really felt like they were going to lose. Taking a look at the second half numbers, they did play a little bit lethargic in the second half. This is something TJ Otzelberger will certainly point to. 12 turnovers in the second half. You can do that when you're up big against Oklahoma State. You can't do that against some of the top teams in the Big 12 like Houston and like Arizona and BYU. Iowa State will see those teams a little bit later. Joshua Jefferson for State had 20 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists. Before today, I would have told you Joshua Jefferson was the best player on the Iowa State team, but Momcilovic is definitely making a run at that. I don't think Iowa State's going to have 2 All-Americans, but they're going to have at least one with either Joshua Jefferson or Milan Momcilovic. And on defense, they were great. Oklahoma State's top scorer, Anthony Roy, had 7 points. He averages 17.6. Iowa State has 4 days off. They're going to host Colorado on Thursday, so a long way away from their 2-game losing streak earlier this year. Now they have a 2-game winning streak.
Well, there you go. Got nice to bounce back a little bit.
Yeah, speaking of bounce back, the Iowa State women have now bounced back with 2 wins in a row after a 4-game losing streak. We'll show you the highlights as Addie Brown still out. That's a cool looking jacket. She's got a back injury. She's been out indefinitely. Although Ariana Jackson is not out. She came back on Wednesday after an injury, and today she had 15 points. I was really impressed with her ability to stretch the floor. I think what helps is when you have a three-point shooter like Jackson on the floor, it opens things up for Audie Crooks, who had 17. It opens things up for Jada Williams, who had 15 in the first half alone. And Williams is actually playing against her old team, Arizona. Mm-hmm. Williams played 2 years at Arizona, transferred to Iowa State. You knew she would have a good game. She had 44 points, her career high last Wednesday. You knew she wasn't going to have 44,
right?
But a solid game was upcoming, and Arizona actually, funny, they had to play with 4 players in the final minute of the game. So 5-on-4, that's just because of the foul trouble they were in. By then, it was all in hand. But yeah, 2-game winning streak for the Iowa State women. They're now 4-5 in Big 12 play. The takeaway there is Jackson being on the floor stretches the floor out and really opens up things for the State offense. They still really want to get Addie Brown back because what Jackson does to stretch the floor and make her teammates better, Addie Brown does that twofold, honestly. Mm-hmm. And that's not a discredit to Jackson. Brown is just an All-American level player when she's healthy. Unfortunately, she's not. So still got to wait on what this Iowa State team looks like. I think they've played their way back into the NCAA tournament picture. Not quite a top 25 team, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely was feeling those losses there for a while.
Yeah, it looked like the sky was falling. But now, hey, Iowa State fans, take a deep breath. Nice to get these wins and get a chance to compete in March when Brown inevitably comes back.
Feels a little reminiscent of the football season.
Yeah, a little bit. Start off undefeated, then injuries kind of hurt you, losing streak. You're right. Iowa State fans, I think they were pretty proud of the way their team responded after that losing streak. Same thing here for the women, although it's a little bit earlier in the season, so the runway to kind of get back into things is a little bit bigger.
For sure.
So Iowa State will likely not be a top 3 or 4 seed in the Big 12 tournament, but if they get hot in March down in Kansas City, we've seen them get to the championship game before.
Yeah, more games to come back a little bit from.
Yes, and Iowa actually went 3 for 3 in terms of college basketball teams winning as the UNI men took down previously first place in the MVC Murray State by a score of 81-76. Here are some first half highlights. You can actually hear from Ben Jacobson. Right after this, go to our website or click away from our website to the sports tab. Colin Davies is at the game, just uploaded press conference footage from head coach Ben Jacobson after this game as Northern Iowa gets the 81-76 win. There you see Trey Campbell, who was absolutely incredible. 27 points is a season high. As a team, UNI had their best scoring output of 81 points since December 1st, and they were playing Division III Co. that day. This was just one of those games where it all kind of worked out for Northern Iowa. Defense left a little bit to be desired, but you certainly will take it. Javon Jackson was held to 9 points for Murray State. He's their top scorer, averaging 17.4. Decent crowd there in the McLeod Center. Just a big win for UNI, who had lost, shockingly, 5 in a row in MVC play after starting 4-0 in MVC play. So kind of a similar theme for all these teams. A brief losing streak. This one a little longer than the Iowa State losing streaks. That's a big win. Murray State actually came into the week 8-0 in conference play. They lost to Drake on Wednesday, and they lost to UNI today. So 2 losses in the state of Iowa against the Racers. There's still a long way to go for UNI. They're now 4-5 in conference play. They're now 5-5 in conference play. Long way to go for them, but obviously you get a win like that. It proves to your team. You could look at the guys in the locker room and basically say, look at the team we just beat. We can beat anyone in this conference, especially on their home floor where they're obviously quite good.
Right. Yeah. Lots of good hoops happening in Iowa today.
Pretty solid hoops today, yeah.
All right. Thanks, Jack. Thanks so much for joining us for the KCRG-TV9 News at 6. And of course, be sure to tune in for the KCRG-TV9 News at 10. Have a great evening.